Well, time for a bit of Jim Does SuperCoach, NFL SuperCoach Week 12 wrap. And what a week it was, if you really got around Jahmyr Gibbs like I kind of told you to. Bang! Sets the new SuperCoach scoring record for the season. You love to see that. Anyway, it was a wild Week 12. Some interesting scores sort of across the board. I ended up with 6-11 for the week, which is pretty nice. 6-11. Not quite the same there, Jim. I know. But very happy with that result because obviously it had me right at the very, very pointy end. Top 1%, ranked 115 on the week, leaving me ranked 76th overall in the entire comp. Yo, beauty! So I think that's top 1% for both NBA and NFL SuperCoach at the moment. So that's pretty good. Elsewhere, how did you all go, right? So interesting average, I think, for week 12. The top 5% average was 572. So the Gibbs captaincy is essentially like the difference between the absolute top 1% there this week and all the scorers and the sort of next level down. The comp average was 395, which just tells you there's a whole mess of folks out there who have given up, right? It was also, though, like if you had a captaincy on someone like Jonathan Taylor, if you had Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson as your QBs, you could see how this could sort of happen as well. But bit of an interesting one. So the top 10%, 549, top 5%, 572 at those averages. Pretty happy with my 6-11. Just felt like having the Pats defense on field as well really helped that because they were playing Cincinnati. The pick six is a big one there against Joe Flacco. Even Andy Borregales. I mean, the Pats only won that game because he was kicking all the field goals. So pretty nice decisions there. The big one for me, obviously, I mean, the trades that I had this week, I brought in Josh Allen and Justin Jefferson. I thought either between Michael Wilson or Justin Jefferson, it's like, let's give Justin Jefferson that one more chance to see if anything can happen. Nope. JJ McCarthy hung him out to dry. It was brutal to watch. And now JJ McCarthy is in concussion protocol and is definitely not been soft benched again. So that's good. The other one was obviously, so with Josh Allen coming in for the Thursday night game, I mentioned this last week. It was always going to be pretty fraught having Josh Allen against that Texans defense in Houston. And it was. He scored 20. It was pretty brutal. The thing is, like, as you sort of like look into that and go, oh, well, yeah, it was a pretty tough week. We get it. He's still priced after that horrible week. He still went up 150K, right? So he's still at the 27.8 mark, which is just difficult to get to. And the rest of their season for Buffalo now, like almost every game becomes, I mean, if they want to win the AFC East, every game they have to win it. Like they have to play the Pats in a couple of weeks, but obviously, they've got some fascinating ones coming up. They've got Pittsburgh this week. They then take on Cincinnati. They then have New England. Then they've got this really interesting run of a Cleveland Browns defense. Don't know about that one. Then they play Philly at home. And Philly have sort of proven just to be so up and down. We saw Dak Prescott tear them apart this week. Especially, Dak was at home. And they also are at home for the Jets in the last week of the season. And it feels like Josh Allen will be playing the way through as well. They're not going to have the one seed locked away or anything. So it was just basically to get Josh Allen into my team, and I'm okay with that, right? The big story is obviously Gibbs with 99. What a week that was. He was absolutely unreal, rushing all over the Giants. And of course, receiving touchdown as well. Pretty good. Congrats if you roll with me and put the C on him. That was pretty cool. Pretty nice. You're just watching that going, yes, mate, another one. You'll be okay. Dodge that Jonathan Taylor bullet, I'll tell you. Anyway, so we're going to do a quick show this week because I'm still under the weather, as you can probably tell just from my voice. I am waiting for my voice just to give out at any moment as well, just fair warning. So, and of course, it's Thanksgiving week. So we've got 3 games on our Australian Friday. We've got a game on Saturday. It's going to be awesome. So you got to make sure you're on top of this really early this week. Really, just the top performers across the board. Jahmyr Gibbs with the 99, unreal. JSN, 65. He was so good against Tennessee, and then they just sort of gave up in the second half. He could have given Gibbs a bit of a run for his money. Jameis Winston was the highest ranked QB on the board this week, because of course he was. He had 64. Jalen Hurts had 61 as well, which a lot of this sort of came down to some really good catches from Devonta Smith and co. But the rushing touchdown that he had, this is just the sort of classic Jalen Hurts vibe. where when we came into the season, the rushing QBs have just got that much more value over everybody else because when those rushing touchdowns hit, boom, your price, your score, it'll all skyrocket. Hurts really proved that this week. Prescott was the same, 55 for him, 5th ranked player this week. He was absolutely everywhere, and like the flip that he did in the end zone, my lord. Wandale Robinson had 52 because the Giants just absolutely, like, out of nowhere tore up that Lions defense, which is crazy. George Pickens had 50 as well. He was great. Amon Ra had 50 as well, just solidifying his spot. He had a really bad sort of like fumbled interception late. Fumbled catch that turned into an interception. Drop catch, yeah, that tracks. But 50 for him, you'll take that. Emmanuel Wilson, the backup running back for the Green Bay Packers, 50 as well. And Cam Ward rounds out the top 10 with 47. Christian McCaffrey there at 11 as well with 46, pretty solid. Derrick Henry popped up with 42, kind of nice. But so I guess the surprises this week are obviously Jameis going whapang. But really, Wandale Robinson, it's so hard when you look at something like Jameis going off his head. The Giants play the Pats this week on Monday Night Football in New England. It feels like it's going to be a little bit tough to sort of replicate this, but it's Jameis. Jameis magic can just happen. He can just start throwing long bombs. He gets sacked 8 times. Who knows what's going to happen? Actually, the Pats front at the moment isn't that good, so the Giants might win that game. But still, the big other surprises, really, I mean, Emmanuel Wilson had the Packers' first 100-yard rushing game of the season. Just saying, that's pretty bloody good. You also had Hunter Henry have 42. You had Ashton Genty pop off for 41 in a game that the Raiders got killed in. DJ Moore popped up with a couple of touchdowns as well. So the Chicago offense is a really strange one because DJ Moore, Rome Odunze and co, even Colston Loveland, it's kind of like almost a week-by-week thing. This week we're going to go to Rome. And you're like, oh, got him on my SuperCoach. Travis Etienne had 38 too, pretty handy. Rashee Rice had 40. So in terms of the actual real, deal surprises, it's Wandale Robinson, it's Jameis, and that Giants offense up against the Lions D that were banged up. So you sort of take that with a grain of salt. Emmanuel Wilson being that good. Cam Ward putting up 47 on the Seahawks is pretty good too, but not massive ones outside of that. AJ Brown stepping up for 42, kind of handy. The biggest flops, JJ McCarthy managing 4. It was pretty rough, I'll tell you that much. Igbuka only having 9 points as well. Look, going up against the Rams defense, it's not a giant surprise. Baker Mayfield gets hurt. He throws a real spanner in the wrench. Spanner in the works for the Buccaneers. Justin Jefferson had 13 because JJ McCarthy is just like, I don't know what I'm doing out here. Tyler Warren had 14. Obviously, these are the most owned players that didn't really deliver. Jonathan Taylor, 14 points. Lamar Jackson, 14 points as well. Trevion Henderson only managed 19 after a few massive weeks because Ramondre Stevenson came back. And I don't know what it is. It's like the Patriots and Ramondre Stevenson are just like the ex-girlfriend that you just can't not let go, right? You just keep answering the phone call at like 1:30 on a Saturday. You're like, what am I doing? I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't know. Oh, I've pressed answer. Hello. You just can't do it. So I think Henderson, though, they've got this great matchup this week against the Giants who just lit up, like Jahmyr Gibbs just lit them up. This is a Henderson game. So I'm just keep the faith with Henderson. And Josh Allen, obviously, biggest flop with his 20 points. It was pretty brutal across the board, wasn't it? In terms of your cash cows this week, there's a pretty sort of interesting list, headlined mostly by Shedeur Sanders. So we've got an obvious trade down candidate if you've held on to JJ McCarthy, if you've got Jackson Dart still on your bench, Dart being a concussion protocol and all this sort of stuff, who knows if they're going to bring him back. Shedeur, he only managed 22 points this week, but he's got a break even that, should be fine, right? He should be okay. He should be able to get to -6. Now, I say that with a slight grain of salt. But he is at 3.7 mil is Shedeur. After his very, very sort of pedestrian opening week, 22 in the second week, a warm body on field as a starting QB should obviously make you a bit of money in that spot. And to be honest, after one start, the fact that the Browns kind of kept the faith with Shedeur and are starting him again this week makes me happy. I'd be happy to go from JJ down to Shedeur because JJ is going to start shedding money If he plays again, it's cooked, but he's also in the concussion protocol, hashtag shadow benched. So to have that, maybe as a rolling zero if you need that, I'm also fine just going, let's get some cash out JJ, go down to Shedeur. Outside of that, you got the Wilsons, Emmanuel and Michael. Emmanuel Wilson's in minus 35 break even, 7.6 mil. His role is so predicated on whether or not Josh Jacobs plays, though. That's a little bit of an interesting one. You'll have to wait till later in the week. And I guess, Michael Wilson is also a little bit dependent on Marvin Harrison Jr. He's got a break even of minus 29, but not as, predicated. Like, Emmanuel Wilson could lose, 2/3 of his carries if Josh Jacobs comes back, half of his carries. He was really good, so I don't think he just gets completely written out again. So, and with Josh Jacobs could be limited. Emmanuel Wilson could play again, probably start, be pretty good. But just keep an eye on that situation. Michael Wilson, though, I feel a little bit better about that one. He's at 10.6 mil. Kenny Gainwell's got a break even of minus 29. He just keeps doing well. He had 30. The thing is with running backs, and Emmanuel Wilson's an interesting one because that's a value proposition, 7.6 mil. Josh Jacobs out, cool. Jalen Warren banged up. Kenny Gainwell, 9.8 mil. Break even of minus 29. What's his upside? We've only got 6 running back spots anyway, right? So if we're churning through trades at this point, we're in a lot of trouble. They will make a bit of cash. Wilson's probably got the higher upside there, but Kenny Gainwell's proven that he can just go, check this out, bang, here's a 60 on your head. I'd probably prefer Kenny Gainwell for the minute because we know that he's still going to be involved even if Jalen Warren's on the field. Sean Tucker, break even of minus 16 as well. Bucky Irving seemingly coming back soon as well, so keep an eye on that. Other ones really, Bryce Young's going to minus 11, but he had 20 this week. He was horrible. And that's the sort of weird thing with Shedeur could be really good this week. Maybe scramble for a bunch of yards. Maybe he scrambles in for a touchdown. You'd be feeling pretty good. Tyler Shuck, similar sort of vibe, right? He managed 17 this week. It was absolutely horrible. He still went up 2.1 mil because the week before, solid. So it's pretty crazy. That's what happens when you've got these QBs with the low starting price points. So outside of that, there's no one that's really jumping off apart from maybe Dylan Sampson, running back for the Cleveland Browns. If Quinton Judkins, who looked like he went at, concussion checks late, is no good. Dylan Sampson was absolutely fantastic the other day too. So he had 29 points last week. He's got a break even of minus 9. He's at 4.2 mil a game. And outside of this, Darnell Mooney, he had 29. I mentioned him last week, just saying he went okay. It's pretty solid for 5.7 mil now. Otherwise, that's about all the cash cows. Shedeur's the big one. The Wilsons, Kenny Gainwell. John Mechie, another one, 5.6 mil too. Dortch, if Marvin Harrison comes back, he just keeps going down the depth chart. So there we go. Isaiah Hodgkins had 22 as well for the Giants. He's at 4 mil. Break even to minus 17. But I don't know. So the trades this week. Now, remember, as I said at the top, Thanksgiving week. So that means everyone's playing. We've got no buys. It's going to be all hands on deck. And we've just got to look at this schedule, as we usually do, right? That's the crucial aspect for your trades, what you're looking at, who you're targeting. Obviously, KC versus Dallas is a fascinating game on both sides. Dallas's defense has suddenly looked okay since the trade deadline. Miami versus the Saints. Miami coming off their bye. Saints look horrible this week. Dolphins filling up and about. Atlanta versus the Jets. Can you trust Atlanta? I don't know. Getting a little bit worried about Bijan too. Chargers versus the Raiders. Now, this is an interesting as well. Amari and Hampton's practice window is reopened after his IR stint. Maybe Kamani Vidal drops off a bit. Amari goes bang again. Look out for Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnson and co. The Raiders are just cooked. So the Pats versus Giants as well. I mentioned this one. Travion Henderson, Drake May. I feel pretty good about that. Their receivers and tight ends, it's just absolute roulette wheel stuff, right? About who's going to go off this week. But don't mind Henderson. But the rest of the schedule is actually pretty difficult this week. And it makes actually captaincy, who you're actually going to start, a little bit of a tricky one. Indy play against Houston. Yes, it's at home, but Jonathan Taylor, this Houston defense is pretty good. They're allowing not many rushing touchdowns or rushing yards. They're pretty good. Danny Dimes, same sort of vibe there too. Niners play in Cleveland as well. So George Kittle, McCaffrey, maybe there's a little bit of a ceiling on them against that Cleveland Browns defense. It's a bit strange. The Washington Commanders in Denver. If you've got any of the Commanders left, what are you doing? Rams versus the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. It's just one to sort of mark and go, hang on. Carolina has been solid at home. Would their defense actually maybe slow down this Rams team? Maybe. Maybe not. But I don't know. So we start off, we've got 3 games on Friday. Remember this, so you've got to have all your lockout stuff sorted, all your trades sorted, because we've got Detroit at Green Bay from 5 a.m. on Friday. Then we've got Dallas KC mid-morning, and then we've got Baltimore Cincinnati. And then we've got a Saturday game, Philly Chicago, which is awesome too. And then we get into the usual Monday morning slate and the Tuesday game. So there's a bunch of tough matchups. What are we going to, like, even Seattle versus Minnesota, JSN, the Vikings are just, who knows if they're going to get after Darnold, and Darnold has one of those horrible Darnold games. So it makes everything else a little bit tricky. The trade-in candidates, obviously you got the Wilsons there. If you're trying to chase some cash, I've already mentioned the risks. Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. It feels like the Kansas City Chiefs getting that win against the Colts this weekend. Did they turn a little bit of a corner? I feel like Mahomes is just going to have to turn it into overdrive for the rest of this season. That means a lot of passing to Rice and Worthy. I feel like Rice is probably the best bet there. I'd probably, look, if you need, and if you've got a couple of trades spare and you're sort of looking to upgrade a spot, like for me, I'll probably take one more look at Rome Odunze this week up against the Philadelphia Eagles, because I think with Philly, I think could just demolish them right, this Bears team. But who knows? We just saw the Eagles lose to the Cowboys after being up 21-0. So the Bears, like if Odunze does anything this week, cool. After that, I'm just a little bit sketchy. But the ones that I'm looking also, Devon Achane, if you don't have him in, that's a great matchup this week against the Saints. I'd probably throw the C on him too, or at least the VC, and try to get the loophole going. Kenny Gainwell, look, when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. I wasn't convinced a few weeks ago. Then Jaylen Warren got banged up, and then boom, he's been awesome. So the trade outs, I mean, it's pretty difficult at the moment. It's obviously JJ McCarthy. He's already down to 10.8 mil again. He is in the concussion protocol. I don't know if we see him again anytime soon, so I'd probably jump off now, go to Shedeur. That's probably what I'm going to do today as well. Kamani Vidal, with Amari and Hampton back, I don't know what his role will be. Just keep an eye on that as well. And outside of that, though, look, there's not too many other ones. Quinshon Judkins, I'd probably just monitor that situation with Dylan Sampson. Outside of this, there's not too much else really sort of going on this week. I mean, you look at the most traded in team players, it's Shedeur, it's Rashee Rice, there you go. Amon Ra, which is a great call. I don't have Amon Ra on my team just yet, but that could easily change, because I think if I do go down from JJ McCarthy to Shedeur, that will open up enough money where I can go get Amon Ra. And the thing is, Detroit playing Green Bay this week, I don't really like his chances to go massive in that one, so I might give that a week, because I've only got 6 remaining trades. We've got, 6 more weeks, really. 5 more weeks, but still. Week 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So that's 6, Jim. Good job. I was right the first time. Anyway, what I could be doing basically this week, I think, with my trades is JJ down to Shedeur, look at maybe Odunze to Amon Ra, possibly. Outside of this, I'm kind of wary just because I want to make sure I've got enough trades there in case of injuries and the rest of the sort of coverage that I'll probably need the next few weeks. Feeling pretty okay about my lineups at the moment, though. Having Drake May and Josh Allen as my QBs, it's a little bit like, okay, I was expecting a bit more from Drake May. He wasn't that great against Cincinnati. The pick 6 really hurt, but it also, because it kind of hurt his confidence more than anything. I wouldn't mind a scrambling touchdown this week against the Giants, just saying. But yeah, my trades, it'll be at least JJ down to Shedeur. We might just stay at that, though. Free up some cash and then sort of wait and see, because I've got coverage across every line at this point. Captains, it's a really strange one, because like Gibbs is obviously just ripped off 99. We've seen Jonathan Taylor have a 95. We've seen Josh Allen go absolutely ham. And they've all got pretty interesting matchups this week, right? Like Gibbs plays Green Bay. Gibbs is at home. On a short week, though, probably steer clear of that. Maybe, Chase against Baltimore's defense. I don't like that either. if you look at Jonathan Taylor's matchup, they're playing Houston. Yes, it's at home, but still Houston are pretty tough. Nico Collins is obviously flip side playing Indy. Just probably doesn't have that upside. Even JSN against that Vikings defense is a little bit iffy. So makes it a bit tough. Like Bijan, usually be like, well, Bijan up against the Jets, maybe. And that might be worth a look at it as a VC. But the Jets defense is just, I mean, they were okay against Baltimore for a bit. And then Derrick Henry got in for a couple of touchdowns. But we know that Bijan just getting these Algier, vulture touchdowns just ripped off his score. McCaffrey's got that tough matchup against Cleveland in Cleveland. So, I don't know, maybe if you've got Achane, I'd be throwing it on him. And then we could even look at Drake May as the captain later. What do you reckon? Monday Night Football against the Giants? Maybe. We'll see how we go. I'll probably end up going with, because Buffalo play that late game on the 8:25 on Monday, right? So the late afternoon Sunday game. I'm probably going to look at a VC for one of those earlier sort of games. Maybe, actually, to be honest, maybe even Puka Nacua against Carolina. Maybe a VC on him. See if we can loop somebody. I don't even know if I've got any loops, though. Oh, geez. Now he's figured that out. That might be a bit of a problem. Might look at Puka with the VC. And then maybe Drake May with the captaincy for Monday. But we might dig into some of these numbers as well. Taylor versus Houston, he might be okay anyway, but that Houston defense is so just monstrous. So, yeah, we might look at Puka with the VC and Drake May up against the Giants. If he can just start slinging it, we saw like Jameis, if they get into a bit of a shootout, look out. You know what I'm saying? So if you've got Henderson, maybe a look there for the captaincy. I don't know, but that's just a little bit risky, I'm just saying. Otherwise, yeah, it's a bit up in the air this week. Bit of a hard one. So I think what I'm going to land on, Puka VC, probably Drake May with the captaincy and just sort of hope that he goes bang. The other one, obviously, is Josh Allen versus Pittsburgh's defense. It might be worth him just going, right, check this out. I'm really good again. The Pittsburgh defense has been solid. They weren't that great last week against Chicago, so I think they can be had. They will be at home. And he has put up massive, massive scores against Pittsburgh before. So he's had 71 against them a couple of years ago. So maybe Josh Allen's a little bit safer. So I might go Puka into Josh Allen. There we go. All right, that's it for the Week 12 wrap, the Week 13 preview. That was a pretty quick one. I'm going to get out of here. My voice is about to go. You can hear it cracking. It's pretty rough. So that is Jim Does SuperCoach for Week 12, heading into the Thanksgiving week of the NFL and NFL SuperCoach. Make sure you're following us across all the socials, Twitter, Facey, IG, YouTube, TikTok, all the good stuff, of course. Get around NFL Straya and NBA Straya, of course. This is Jim Does SuperCoach. Happy SuperCoaching.